morning, Greg. You are live.
You're live, Greg.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Help me with the affirmation there at the top of the page. Together? In one spirit, we see God everywhere.
In everyone and in everything.
Except for that one guy.
Scared him off.
And you.
And
Well, you fill in that blank, right? There you go. Wait, no, wait, I made a commitment earlier. And that one person's going to come in front of you, maybe multiple people, going to come in front of you and say, to heck with that. That's what
So should we go
my-
up to him and say,
my-
are you in there, God?
my favorite. That's okay, just leave it, it'll shut up. So, this is my favorite saying. I'll get another one soon, but I just love saying this. People just act right. I could be really nice.
Here.
I don't want to touch that one.
You're actually a pretty nice person. You are.
Okay.
You are. Got a big heart.
It's up for debate in some quarters.
That means you're human.
Let's see if we've got a good one to start with. If somebody can think of some good news, you can just call it out. Now, remember, when I read these from Hafiz, they're written in the 1300s. And then there's this Daniel Ladinsky, he translates them kind of into modern English. So some of the terms you wouldn't think you would hear in the 1300s in Persia. But who knows, right? So this one's called the sun, S-U-N, in drag. What?
Say that again?
Yeah, the sun, S-U-N, in drag.
Sounds glorious.
You are the sun in drag. You are God, hiding from yourself. Remove all the mine, that is the veil. Why ever worry about anything? Listen to what your friend Hafiz knows for certain. The appearance of this world is a magi's brilliant trick. Though its affairs are nothing into nothing, you are a divine elephant with amnesia, trying to live in an ant. Sweetheart, oh sweetheart, you are God in drag. Have you right like that? Okay. Birthdays, anniversaries? All right. Make it very difficult. Prayer list. Anybody need to be added to the prayer list? All right, in that case, let's see if we can find something.
Can I be on the prayer list?
You are on the prayer list.
Thank you.
But I only say your name when you don't show up.
Reggie.
See, if somebody's on the prayer list and they're here, I don't ever say their name when we do it at the end. They're just included in everybody, right?
Oh.
In all of us, right?
Is Mikhail still on the list?
Yeah.
He's in China now.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. So let's get quiet. We'll do this meditation. Just relax right where you're at. Just allow the seat to fully support your weight. may want to notice if your spine is straight. You might want to put your feet flat on the floor and close your eyes. And relax. Relax, release, let go. Focusing on the breath. Relax the body. Just allowing any tension to flow out and away. Ease your mind by releasing any worries or concerns. And set the spirit free by letting go of any grievances. For the next few moments, just allow my words to be your words. This day, I choose to spend in perfect peace. It does not seem to me that I can choose to have but peace today. And yet, God assures me that His Son is like Himself. So let me this day have faith in Him who says that I am God's child. And let the peace I choose be mine today and bear witness to the truth of what He says. God's child can have no real cares and must remain forever in the peace of heaven. And in His name I give today to finding what my Father wills for me, accepting it as mine, and giving it all to my brothers and sisters along with me. And so, my Father, I would pass this day with you. Your Son has not forgotten you. The peace you gave Him still is in His mind, and it is there I choose to spend today. We say amen and amen. The bag lady. I am the bag lady in every city. I have a spot on every street. My sacks are full of holiness. So I have come to pedal, to touch your feet. I give myself to myself on rare occasion because I'm so very shy. Hafiz, the monarchs of this world are but slaves to thee. Since the beloved took his seat in your eye. I am the bag lady in every city. I am playing divine music in every world. My sacks are full of holiness, and I am asking, may I please bow to you? Undistracted, the beloved one taking a seat in our eye. Jesus said this very interesting thing, and people, I think it's taken a lot of different ways, but he said, if thine eye be single, thy whole body will be full of light. This is a state of undistractedness. Is that a word? Just made it a word. If thine eye be single, thy whole body will be full of light. Motivational speakers use it to say, if you stick to the goal, if you focus on your goal and don't let yourself waver, then you'll accomplish it. Of all life. Jesus is instructing us to see that unity. To see that unity. Service is all about. That we see the unity of life. That we are affirming, and we are really making a commitment. And even though I make a little, the world of duality, to forgive the world of right and wrong and black and white, and see that really, even though it seems so very far away, we have not strayed from heaven. Oh, it's a nice thought. I got a little shiver right there for a second. So our goal, our focus, is to see, at least with the inner eye, that this is the case. So being undistracted means that I would not allow the issues of the ego, which is the problem, to interfere with my sight. That I would say, no, I do not want this. And always remembering that in that ego space, see, the ego can use all of these teachings for its own purposes. And it can say, okay, yes, this is our task, this is our little job of the day, is to, really apply our force of will and stay on track here and, hold on tight. And all day long, I'm just gonna see good in people. We fail. We fail every day. And the reason we fail is because these distractions occur. These distractions that are more attractive to the ego pop up. Money, Property. Prestige. You say, I don't care about any old prestige. What about the prestige of being right? It's prestige. It's one of the meditations. Prestige has a weird root. It's got something to do with deception and mirrors, and it's not what we think, right? It's strange. It's different than honor. So, these distractions. There's a quote in the Narcotics Anonymous basic text that says, "Money is always a problem for us." And you know, when I first read that, I thought that we were just talking about addicts, but we aren't, because this is a confusion. What Jesus said about this: "What do you care about these things? Observe the sparrows. Observe the flowers in the field. Are they not cared for?" And the reason, you know, when you think about it, the reason that they are, and yes, it doesn't mean that sparrows don't fall out of the sky dead, because they do. But they are not in a state of distraction. And this would be the second definition of distraction, which is to mean, you know, a near psychotic state over the situation that's happening. They are not distracted from life. The reason they're not distracted from life is because they're focused on being what they are. They don't have any thoughts about being anything other than a sparrow, or any thoughts about being anything other than a flower in the field. They are that which they are. We have all sorts of conflicting thoughts. And these conflicting thoughts, these are the actual distraction. So I think about this, that what Hafiz was saying in this poem about us having amnesia, that we're a divine elephant. It actually says, I missed a word in the stanza. He says, "You're a divine elephant trying to live in an ant hole." Ah! Can you see yourself trying to get in there? So, this amnesia that we have, we've forgotten the reality of oneness, of this kingdom of oneness. So here we find ourselves in this material world, struggling day by day with all of the things that are actually the ego distractions. We're struggling day by day with money. We're struggling day by day with thinking we don't have enough property. And you know, after some time, we start realizing that a lot of these, boy, I used to have all sorts of ideas in mind that if I got to this certain level and I had this certain amount of stuff and this certain amount of money, that then, you know, things going to be easy going. It's going to be just, you know, but there's a whole other set of problems. And, you know, and other people told me this years and years ago. They told me there was a whole other, and I said, well, I'd rather have those problems. I'd rather have those problems than these problems. Well, really, a problem is a problem, and suffering is suffering. So, especially when you begin to panic that you may lose this stuff. Somebody's coming to take it. So all of these distractions arising out of the fear that is generated from this idea that we are alone and apart from and unique and separated, and they just keep popping up. And so this sixth tradition in the recovery programs is all about that. It's all about not being distracted by these things. And the way that we can become undistracted, the way that we can become single-eyed, as Jesus kind of recommends in that passage, is for us to continually to realize that the ego's not going to fix this. You could get, you know, one of the things that the ego just loves is more and more learning so that it can apply these new ideas to these problems, but never wanting a solution to the problems. Want to talk about it, want to intellectualize about it, want to break it down and analyze. And when the actual answer is to become undistracted, all we have to do is sit, get quiet, and breathe, and ask the Holy Spirit for guidance in the moment. And you don't have to sit. You can be moving through the world. Something occurs. Stop. Breathe. Ask for guidance. Because this is the whole point. The whole point of the first step. First, I'll just go with that. Whole point of the first step in the recovery programs is this simple idea: I can't do this by myself. So if I already know that I can't do this by myself, why am I continually falling for the ego's deception that I can do it by myself? Over and over and over again, I got a plan. I got this great idea. I can get, and you know, I know that was a mistake, but next time, it'll be different. This, of course, is the reason for the whole pattern. So, but Jesus said it too. When his disciples said, "Oh, Lord, you are so grand and great. This is magnificent what you have done here," he said, "Why callest me thou good? There is none good but God." Now, what he's saying is, you are calling my individual personality. You're calling my this body you're seeing in front of you, you're calling that good, separating it from the rest. And then he said, "Of myself I do nothing. It is the Father within who doeth the work." So he's telling people right off the bat, he's telling people, I didn't come here to be worshipped. He's actually saying in a way, at least it's implied, I didn't come here so that you would make a church about me. So and here's another place where the ego gets involved. But so what I'm saying is the first step in Jesus saying, "Of myself I do nothing," they're the same. They go together. So this is the remembrance, to continue to remember that alone I'm powerless. Alone I'm powerless. When I get quiet, when I allow the Spirit that is within me to speak and to act through me, the first thing that happens is my eye becomes focused. And I see that the Spirit that's within me is also within you. That indeed we are all one Spirit. What? So, this does not mean that we don't have work to do in the world. This is kind of, so we find ourselves in this world, in a body. It appears that we are in competition with other bodies for limited resources. How many times have I said that, for crying out loud? But this is what's going on. So I think, okay, so as much as I've tried all these years that I've been working on this, I've still not been able to totally transcend the body. I'm still identifying with the body in a number of ways. I'm identifying with the body. So what's the way out of this? Back to this kingdom of heaven. And what the Course in Miracles tells us is that we just follow our purpose. That purpose of we're here to be helpful. We're here to be truly helpful. That we just follow that purpose. And then it tells us clearly, it's not being truly helpful does not mean helping somebody do the dishes. Although that's a symptom of being helpful. That we actually would get up and help do the dishes, right? But being truly helpful means forgiving. Being truly helpful means forgiving the apparent situation and seeing through to the truth. This forgiveness of forgetting the injury. Not shining it on, not saying, oh, it's okay, yes, oh, you hurt me to the quick, but it's saying, you didn't hurt me. And not in an arrogant way, not in a way like you couldn't possibly hurt me. Not in that way. But to say within ourselves, is to say, I am spirit, you are spirit. You can't hurt, we can't hurt each other, really. Now, apparently, in the world, we do. So part of this whole forgiveness process is to take responsibility for what it is that we do in the world. But to understand the greater truth that really nothing happened. And I've had many experiences in my time on this path where I've seen very clearly that every single thing that goes, every feeling that I have is directly linked to a thought or a belief system. So in other words, what I'm saying is what the Buddhists have said forever is that the quality of my life is directly connected to the quality of my thoughts. That I am indeed in charge of the offense that I take or don't take. And so once I've taken offense, then that's when this forgiveness comes in. And so I forgive the situation. I forgive the apparent situation and see through to the truth that we are all connected and that we are all one, that it really indeed is unity. Or, as we say at the beginning of every service, it's all God. I might have told this before, but Richard Billings was a teacher of mine. He had the Unity Church in Oak Park. And I went there many times for classes, and one of the times I went there, he would always prepare lunch for everybody in class. And he didn't do the whole thing, but he would always have a hand in it. He would go back in the kitchen and help with preparing lunch. And there was always some kind of meat in the lunch. And Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, who started Unity, they were both vegetarians. And they said, they didn't proscribe, they didn't say you can't eat meat, but they said it's probably better if you're a vegetarian. It's probably better. And so Richard was actually, he had been a student of Charles Fillmore. And I asked him about this. I said, how come, Charles and Myrtle, both strict vegetarians, and they kind of give us some guidance. I was, at the time, I was eating meat. But I said, well, how come you're put meat in the lunch? And he said, it's all God. Don't worry about it. And this was his attitude about this, was kind of like Native American attitude about, that you give thanks to the meat on the table, right? You honor it. You honor whatever it is that's providing, your sustenance today. But so this is, and then the Hindus, they're like, but still they're saying it's all God too. Everybody's saying it's all God. At the core teachings, right? I guess everybody except some fundamentalists that are running around. Anyway, because they were thinking it's God and the devil, but that's the problem. That's the problem when we see that. When we see that there's these two entities warring for your soul. You can get a picture of it, as being actually happening outside. But it's really not. If you think about it in the terms that we talk about here, this Satan, this devil, this force, if you will, that we're all taught to be afraid of, is actually just the ego. That's all it is. And this is the main distraction, is that we think we are this and that. We think we are right or wrong. We think we are rich or poor. And the fact of the matter is, we are one, which means that we are everything. So how could we be poor? That's all.